Hi guys, welcome back. In this episode we are going to be doing another epoxy countertop, and we're going to be doing it on this vanity here. And for this vanity, we are not going to be using a epoxy kit. We're going to be building one from scratch, just using bar and countertop generic epoxy and rattle can spray paint. To start this process, it's pretty simple. Basically just get all the fixtures off, so we'll pull off the faucet. We're going to replace that anyways, the drain here, and then we'll start just by rough sanding the surface. This countertop is, I believe it's like a Korean, or it's a plastic of some sort, and let me get you in here and it'll show you. So here's the one-piece counter with the bowl set into it, and as you can see, it's pretty well aged where it's starting to crack, and so we're just going to rough sand that and get it ready for the epoxy. All right, to start prepping, we're going to want to clean this down, get all the old grease and grime and stuff out of it. And to do that, we're just using Barkeeper's Friend. It works great. So just dump it on, and then using just a scrub pad that's kind of all wet, just kind of rub it down. Alright, now we're just using Dawn dish soap to clean that up. And you can use any flavor of dish soap that you want. Alright, so then you just want to use a razor blade, run around the edges, and then you can use a putty knife and just kind of scrape the old caulk off. You just want to get the surface relatively clean. And then we're going to go over the whole surface with 220 grit sandpaper just to kind of scuff it up and give the epoxy something to bite into. So we're just kind of lightly scuffing it. Alright, I think that's good enough. Then we'll just take a wet cloth and wipe it down to get up some of that dust, and we should be ready to start on our next step. Alright, so before we start pouring epoxy, we have the counter already sanded to 220. It's already cleaned off, and we got all the edges taped off, and the front is bagged, so all the stuff dripping off the front edge will just kind of land on there. So for the epoxy kit, you can, there's a bunch of companies out there that make epoxy kits, like Ligari is one, Stone Coat is another big one, but for the most part it's all just a two-part epoxy and your colorant, which you can use, Rustoleum paint works really well, the lacquer-based or oil-based stuff. Not so much. I've never tried it with water, so I don't know that. And then, spray paint for adding different layers. So really all you need to buy is, a gallon. This is actually a gallon of Primo resin. And you can get this on Amazon for 60 bucks, I think. And so this is half a gallon makes one whole gallon, which is a lot cheaper than the $200 to $400 for like the name brand kits out there. But let me show you how we're going to mix this up and add our colorants, and then what we're going to do is called like a dirty pour. So yeah, let's mix up some colors. Alright, so to start mixing, we're going to take all the resin that we need for all the colors and mix it up right away. So we're going to take the actually least liquid one, part A, and just equal parts, part A and part B. Alright, so now that we have A and B in there, you gotta mix this for, I mean, you can do it manually, but you still have to do it for like 5 minutes. So. Alright, so that's thoroughly mixed up. Now we want to divide this into our different colors, and since we're doing white as our main color, that's going to get the most, and then black will get very little. So then we divide this out into different colors here. Just make it nice light. And then for our coloring, we're just using Rustoleum oil-based paint. And just take some of this. Mix that up. Alright, that looks good. And you can always add more or less depending on whatever flavor you want it to look like. And then we'll probably actually do this closer to gray, so not using a whole lot of black. Just add a little bit of black in there. And then always mix from your lightest color to your darkest. Perfect. Alright, so now since we're doing what's called a dirty pour, we're just going to add all these colors back into here and then shake some spray paint in between. So we'll start our mix and so we'll go, it's not a perfect science, so you just kind of do whatever looks cool. A little bit of that color, a little bit of that. Let's go gray. A little bit of this. A little bit more white. I like using these hammered Rustoleum spray paints. They have like a little bit of metallic to them too, so you get like a glitter when it dries, which I think looks pretty cool. But really you can do just about any of them. So don't mix that then. You just want to leave it kind of as is. And we're ready to start pouring on the counter. All right, so we have all our colors dumped in here, non-mixed. So then just starting in one corner, just kind of run it across. So right now we're just trying to get an even flat layer, and then what we'll do is come back and always add in more details, like veining or whatever else you want to put on there. The vertical surfaces are always the most difficult, so that's why doing this with a sink drain is kind of a challenge, but as you can see, you just kind of move it around and you'll come up with something that looks cool. And then, work your front edge. If you're working on a flat surface, the, like a regular counter, it's tapered down, so you would run a bead of tape across the front edge, but this sink counter is all tapered in, so you don't really have that same issue. All right, now you can take your other colors and just add in details. I'm going to add some veining into it. And just run it right off the front. And then this method is called chopping. So while everything's still wet, you just kind of blend it a bit so it doesn't look like you just poured it on. All right, it's been about 2 days since we laid the epoxy, and it's dry enough that we were able to mount the faucet and the drain. I'm happy with the way that it turned out. Let me get you in here for a close. If you do look really closely, you can see some fish eyes and some waviness to it. It's not terrible, so I just decided to leave it. But if it really did bother you, what you could do is sand the surface again after it's dried with 220 again, and then you do another clear pour on top. And what that'll do then is add additional thickness to it, as well as level out everything again. But this is used in a seldom used bathroom, and you know, for what I wanted, it was good enough. So, all right. So in total, this counter cost about $30 in materials. I already had rattle cans and leftover paint from other projects, and really don't use a whole lot of it. And I only end up using about a third of a gallon. So, you know, if a gallon is $60, we only use like $20 worth of it. So it turned out really well. If you like this video, please subscribe and comment below on, you know, if you like the pattern or not, and you know, give it a try and see what kind of cool stuff you can come up with.